It's another day in the life, man.
All your training with quarterbacks, everything you studied and done, how does what's happening now apply to? Have you ever experienced anything like,
Yeah, and the next guy's got to step up, and Andrew had a good week of practice. He's been good since I got here, really. And Matt is getting more reps, and he's a bright young guy. So all the drill work, that they've done is going to kick in. Now it's just a matter, as of just applying it to the field. But I was pretty pleased with, I would guess, how would you say, Andrew's demeanor when he came in, like he had a little ice running through his veins. I think he had like a couple passes back, but, that's life.
What did you think? We were talking to you Saturday. What was your evaluation of Adrian's game?
Well, aside from the tragic errors, it's better to die as a baby than to fumble the football or throw a pick, right? Other than that, I thought that, just in terms of doing the eval, when I looked at all the plays and then he got his evaluation, you hate to ever say that without those things and all that sort of craziness. His eyeballs were good. His feet were good. I thought the way he handled himself in the pocket was outstanding. He sat in there and did the things he needed to do, went through his reads and his keys. And I think Coach Walters and Coach Frost were pretty pleased with that. But, there again, on the other hand, those sorts of errors are just really costly, and he understands that, but it is what it is.
But the first game for a true freshman, it could happen, right? I mean, that's...
Yeah, I guess, but as you've heard us say, don't let anybody make excuses for you and don't make excuses for yourself. As far as I'm concerned, he's our starting quarterback, and same thing's going to go on with Andrew. There are starting quarterbacks, and we just absolutely cannot do those sorts of things. I don't care what year they are.
Is there a chance Adrian could get out there Saturday, or is he out?
Well, that'd be, I think, probably the best question for Coach Frost at this point. Yeah, but he's been around. I mean, he seems to be obviously in great spirits, which is probably first and foremost in my mind, and secondarily, it seems like he's functioning pretty well.
Did he practice today?
No, he didn't. No, he's still doing his rehab.
Okay.
Does the offense change at all if it's Andrew over Adrian?
No, I think you heard Coach Frost say, we're going to run our offense. He knows our offense. He's operated the offense. It's just a matter of him getting the reps and practice with the things that we have planned for Troy, and boom, let's go. Let's go.
What's the biggest thing you learned about the offense, or your quarterbacks in particular, from last week?
Well, I think I'm familiar with the offense, so that piece of the puzzle is probably not a question mark. But in terms of Adrian, as Tom was asking, we were all really pleased with his pocket presence and how he handled himself with that sort of pressure from the defense, not necessarily externally. But that was a good thing to see. We had thought that he was going to play like he practiced. I was asked a question I think maybe Parker asked me earlier in the week, and that he would be pretty much like a duck in water, after not playing his senior year. And so that was really good to see. So what I learned about Adrian is, I guess, what I already knew about him.
I know there's only so much you can control depth-wise, but if it's Andrew on Saturday, how do you manage the depth? Do you just hope he makes it through, or?
No hoping. He'll make it through, and it'll be the next guy up if something unfortunate were to happen. Like any game, you don't anticipate that, but in the back of your brain, you're prepared for it.
Your game plan for him, obviously, it'll be a different game plan, won't it?
No, we're gonna run our stuff. We're gonna do what we do. There's some applications that come up because of the style of their defense that obviously can't run against Colorado. So, that part of it's going to change. But in terms of our approach to it and what we want to do, whether it's the run game, short, intermediate, deep passing game, we're going to let it rip.
Can he? He's not. Obviously, he's not the runner that Adrian is. But can he run?
Oh man, Andrew can fly now. Yeah, he can. Andrew can run.
Okay.
He can get after it. He's a fast young cat now. He can go. Yeah, I'm impressed with that part of his profile, just like I am with Adrian. Obviously, Adrian's maybe a little bit bigger body profile than Andrew, but Andrew can scoot. Yeah.
You hear quarterbacks a lot say that they prepare themselves as if they're the starter, even if they're not, and I know that you would like that. So how do you see that over the course of the week bear out?
Yeah, I don't really like that. I demand that. They have to be ready. And you know, Mark, it's hard when you're not starting to have that psychological presence from Monday all the way through. You get it. So I'm on them, and that's why whether you're a redshirt freshman who's never going to play or a true freshman who's not going to play, let's say, for example, or you're Noah Vedral who's ineligible, they're going to take their test, and they're going to have that sort of preparation. So I hope I answered your question.
So that game test goes a long way toward, I mean, I know you want to get something out of it, but does it maybe help even just a little bit keep those guys in the mindset of here's everything
it certainly focused their attention. I don't think they want to disappoint me with regards to how they perform on that test, first and foremost, because I'm just an extension of Coach Frost. I'm an extension of Coach Walters. So if they disappoint me, they're disappointing those two cats and our entire team. So it focuses their attention, and they're pretty serious, and they've done really well on their test thus far.
How was Adrian, like, after a bad play? Like, when he threw that pick in the fourth quarter, did you like what you saw out of him out on the sideline after?
Well, the first thing I noticed that he wouldn't make the tackle, so that was important. Secondarily, for me, he knows how I am on the phones when those things occur. I'm relaxed. I'm not going to scream and yell at him. I'm going to ask him, what did you see? How are your feet? Did you see the coverage? I'm going to ask him those sorts of things for a learning experience. It's not going to do him any good for me just to climb down his throat, you know. So he was really good. He was very articulate with me with regards to what happened. And sometimes when you see that on tape, it's not exactly what he said, but what he said in terms of throwing that interception is what I saw on tape, and it was bass backwards.
What did he tell you?
Last question for Coach.
I'm fine if they want to. I'm good.
What did he tell you he saw when you talked to him? What did he see on that play?
Well, I asked him how he keyed it, you know, and ultimately it's my fault. I'm his coach, right? And that progression needs to be outside in as opposed to inside out after you look at the field linebackers. So obviously I did not do a good enough job of hammering that point, just like I didn't do a good enough job of hammering the point about ball security. Just like I didn't do a good enough job when he's running the option of making sure he attacks the guy's outside shoulder. That comes back to me. He's 18 years old, right? But in terms of how he articulated himself, you know, he wasn't MSUing, you know what I'm saying? Making shit up. Oh God, sorry. I apologize. He wasn't doing that. He wasn't making stuff up, you know. So he told me exactly what he saw, and what I saw on tape is exactly what he said he did. You know, sometimes guys as quarterbacks, you know, they feel like they need to cover themselves, and you get that, you know. But then when you see it on tape, you know, it's just the opposite of what they said they did.
Is it for Adrian? Is it going to be hard to tell him not to play Saturday? Is he kind of saying, "Coach, I'm going to do it. I want to play"?
God, he told me that. Johnny told me that Monday. You know, I talked to him that night after I called his father, and I called him back. He said, "Well, I'm playing Saturday." I said, "Okay." So, I don't think you're the one that's going to make that decision, but you know, he wants to play. You know, he's a competitor, and he wants to be out there for his teammates and all that sort of good stuff, which is really honest with regards to how he is, you know.
How was his tackle?
Pardon
How's
me?
Adrian's tackle?
He did a pretty good job. Actually, you know, when you watch it on tape, you say, oh, God, is he going to blow up his shoulder? But he did a nice job.
Was it his good shoulder or bad shoulder he made the tackle with?
I think it was his bad shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, hey, that's his job, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, as Coach Frost has has said you can't be a candy ass and play quarterback for the Cornhuskers, you know, and he had to get that done.
Is that what he said?
Pardon me?
Was that like an exact quote?
That was from way back when, but that's what me and Andrew talked about when I seen him on Sunday when he came to pick up his evaluation. We got a chance to talk a little bit, you know. So that was his job. That's what he's expected to do, you know, and he got it done. I just wish he wouldn't have had those two tragic errors.
Was Adrian's grade really good though for that game? I mean, overall, was that a really good performance in your view?
Yeah. You know, aside from the critical errors, like I said before, you hate to take those things out of it. But he's a true freshman, so for me, I have to evaluate it in that context. And he was, I don't know what to tell you guys. You guys saw it. He was really, really, really poised. And the concern I had is, you know, when you're in the pocket and you're 6 yards back and people are flying at you, how you going to, man, he went through his keys and reads, and he was awesome. And when he had to go, he went.
Very good.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Coach.